President Donald Trump has once again placed immigration and federal power at the center of America's political debate, this time by issuing a sharp warning to so-called sanctuary cities. In a recent statement, Trump said his administration is seriously considering cutting federal funding to cities and even entire states that refuse to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement. The announcement has reignited a long-running national argument over immigration, states' rights, and the limits of presidential authority. Sanctuary cities are jurisdictions that limit their cooperation with federal immigration agencies, particularly Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. These policies often prevent local police from asking about immigration status or holding undocumented immigrants solely for federal immigration violations. Supporters argue these policies build trust between immigrant communities and local law enforcement, making cities safer overall. Critics, including Trump, say sanctuary policies protect undocumented immigrants who have committed crimes and undermine federal law. Trump's latest comments suggest a far more aggressive approach than in the past. According to people familiar with the discussions, the administration is exploring ways to restrict or completely withhold federal funds from cities that refuse to assist immigration authorities. This could include funding related to transportation, housing, law enforcement grants, and social programs. Trump has framed the issue as one of fairness, arguing that taxpayers should not be forced to support cities that openly defy federal immigration laws. The political reaction was immediate. Leaders from major cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and San Francisco pushed back strongly, calling the proposal unconstitutional and dangerous. Several governors from states with sanctuary policies said they are prepared to fight any funding cuts in court. Legal experts note that similar attempts during Trump's earlier political era were blocked by federal judges, who ruled that the executive branch cannot unilaterally strip congressionally approved funds from states or cities without clear legal authority. At the heart of the issue is a constitutional battle over federalism. The U.S. Constitution gives the federal government authority over immigration policy, but it also protects states from being forced to carry out federal enforcement actions. Courts have previously ruled that while the federal government can set immigration rules, it cannot commandeer state and local governments to enforce them. Trump's team appears to be looking for legal pathways to work around these limits, possibly by attaching stricter conditions to future federal grants. Supporters of Trump's move say the situation has changed. They argue that increased migration at the southern border, combined with rising pressure on housing, schools, and public services, requires a tougher response. Conservative lawmakers say sanctuary policies encourage illegal immigration by signaling that certain cities will not cooperate with deportations. For them, cutting funding is a necessary tool to restore what they call respect for the rule of law. Opponents see it very differently. Immigration advocates warn that cutting federal funds could harm millions of residents, including U.S. citizens, by reducing resources for public transportation, emergency services, healthcare, and education. They argue that the threat is more about political messaging than real policy solutions. Some critics also point out that studies have repeatedly shown that immigrants, including undocumented ones, commit crimes at lower rates than native-born Americans. This issue is unfolding against a broader political backdrop. Immigration is once again becoming a defining topic in American politics, especially as Trump positions himself as a strong leader willing to confront local governments. By targeting sanctuary cities, Trump is speaking directly to his political base, many of whom see immigration enforcement as a top priority. Analysts say the timing of the announcement is not accidental, as it keeps Trump at the center of national attention and forces Democrats to respond. There is also uncertainty about how such funding cuts would work in practice. Federal funding is complex, spread across dozens of programs managed by different agencies. Some funds are protected by law and cannot easily be withheld, while others come with conditions that might be modified. Legal challenges could take months or even years to resolve, meaning cities might not feel immediate financial effects but would face prolonged uncertainty. City officials argue that cooperation with immigration enforcement could actually make communities less safe. They say immigrants may become afraid to report crimes or cooperate with police if they fear deportation. Police chiefs in several major cities have echoed this concern, warning that public safety depends on trust, not fear. Trump, however, dismisses these arguments, insisting that strong enforcement is essential for national security. Public opinion on sanctuary cities remains divided. Polls show that Americans are split, with views often shaped by political affiliation. Some voters support tougher immigration measures, while others prioritize human rights and local autonomy. This divide reflects a broader polarization in U.S. politics, where issues like immigration, policing, and federal power have become deeply entrenched along partisan lines. Internationally, Trump's comments are also being closely watched. Immigration policy in the United States often influences global perceptions, especially in countries with large immigrant populations. In America, some foreign leaders have expressed concern about the treatment of migrants, while others view Trump's stance as a sign of stronger border enforcement. As of now, no formal executive order has been signed to immediately cut funding, but administration officials suggest proposals are being drafted. Legal experts say that even if an order is issued, it will almost certainly face immediate lawsuits. Courts will likely be asked to decide whether the federal government can impose such sweeping penalties on states and cities. What happens next could shape the future relationship between Washington and local governments. If Trump succeeds, it would mark a significant expansion of federal power over cities. If courts block the move again, it could reinforce limits on presidential authority. Either way, the debate over sanctuary cities is far from over. For now, Trump's threat has achieved one clear result. It has put immigration back at the top of the national agenda. As cities prepare legal defenses and political leaders trade accusations, millions of Americans are watching closely. The outcome will not only affect immigration policy, but could redefine how power is shared between the federal government and local communities in the years ahead.